Sagittarius, there are moments in life that arrive so quietly, so softly, almost like a breath, yet they carry enough power to open an entirely new road. You may not see it right away, but you can feel a subtle shift underneath everything, as if the sky itself is turning into a brighter shade, and the universe is gently placing a hand on your shoulder, guiding you toward a place of light you once only dreamed about. These past days, you've felt something changing, haven't you? A small sign, a situation that seemed random, a passing comment, a sudden encounter, and somehow, they all ripple together like tiny stones falling into still water, spreading wider and deeper with every breath. That isn't coincidence. That is the universe whispering that your moment is drawing near. You'll start to notice new people entering your life, each carrying a missing piece you didn't know you were searching for. They arrive with such perfect timing that you can't help but pause and wonder if someone up there is arranging all of this with quiet precision. Some stay only for a short while, yet they leave behind a message your heart needed to hear. Some open doors you've been standing outside of for far too long, and others bring just enough light to remind you that this journey was never meaningless. When a long closed door begins to open, you'll see inside the things you once hoped for, but somehow lost along the way, buried under storms, fatigue, and the weight of being strong for too long. Help begins to flow from places you never expected, sometimes from a familiar stranger, sometimes from a small situation that somehow shifts everything around you. Sagittarius, you have walked through long seasons of waiting, standing still, hoping, exhausted at times, wondering when life would finally move even a little in the direction you prayed for. You've been patient, you've been strong. But there were moments you questioned yourself, moments you asked if you were still on the right path, or if you dropped your faith somewhere in the struggle. But look at you. No matter how tired you were, you never let go of yourself. And that quiet persistence, that quiet courage, sent a signal upward strong enough for the universe to answer and begin clearing the way for you again. Now, what once stood still begins to move. What you thought was lost returns with a warmth you didn't expect. What belongs to you is finding you, as if it has heard the silent call your heart has been sending for years. You'll step into days where everything starts aligning piece by piece, like the final fragment of a puzzle finally falling into place after years of shifting and searching. And as you walk this path, you may catch yourself pausing just to feel what is unfolding around you. And you'll realize something simple, yet breathtaking. Life never turned its back on you. It was only preparing a ripened moment, one you could receive, without losing yourself. If you place your hand over your heart right now, you might feel a different rhythm, soft yet steady. Almost like your soul is smiling, knowing the road ahead is no longer the uncertain detour it once was. It is a path with light, with signs, with the companionship of kind souls placed along the way. And as you keep moving forward, you'll sense an invisible thread pulling you toward the things that have always belonged to your spirit. A journey where every step feels supported, as if unseen hands are lifting you gently. And from that very support, something beautiful begins to happen. It feels like someone is quietly opening new space around you, guiding you closer to desires you didn't even realize were still alive inside you. And in that movement, in that soft unfolding, a new story begins to flicker, waiting for you to step into it with your courage, your tenderness, and the light that has always been yours. It isn't the light of anyone else. It isn't a light you have to force or pretend to create. It's the light born from the road you've walked. It grows out of the moments you fell, but stood back up, from the nights you sat with your own silence, from the small turning points that changed the way you see life. And then, as you take another step forward, something strange happens. You're no longer searching for the world. The world begins searching for you. That's when the energy of Sagittarius becomes almost electric, a quiet current running up your spine, warm, calm, not overwhelming, just enough to make you aware that something inside you has come alive again. You walk into a room, and people look at you for a moment longer. Not because you're trying to draw attention, but because you've changed your frequency. That frequency makes people pause. When you speak, they want to hear more. When you fall silent, they wonder what's moving behind your eyes. Your presence becomes a space where people feel safe, curious, and strangely drawn toward you, yet respectful of whatever strength you're carrying now. Sagittarius, that light isn't the light of someone trying to prove anything. It's the light of someone who has survived storms and learned that the only thing you truly own is yourself. And when a person reaches that truth, they become magnetic in a way no makeup, no outfit, no performance can imitate. You may not notice it yet, but the shift inside you has changed your very outline. Your aura is softer, but deeper. Your gaze is calmer, but brighter. People look at you and sense something unusual, a pull without words, a confidence without effort, as if the moment you stopped trying so hard, you began to shine the most. And none of this is random. When your energy field expands, the physical world responds quickly. Money begins to move. Strange opportunities find their way to you. A project gets approved, an invitation appears, a door that was tightly shut opens just enough for you to see inside. Everything flows more smoothly, as if the water finally found its path after years of being blocked. What you used to chase now drifts toward you on its own. You don't have to run anymore. You only have to stand in your rhythm, stand in your truth. People are drawn to you not because of how you look, but because you radiate the energy of someone who has found their thread back to life. Your steps carry intention. Your thoughts carry weight. You're no longer living in the old fear. You stand tall, not to challenge anyone, but to honor yourself. And that posture alone makes you noticeable even in silence, makes you remarkable without trying to be. You'll notice that the ones who once overlooked you now turn their heads. Those who doubted you begin to wonder what changed. And those with unclear intentions find themselves uneasy, because your strength no longer leaves gaps for them to slip into. You're not pushing anyone away. Your energy simply chooses who is allowed to step into your circle. And when all eyes turn toward you, not to take from you, but because they sense you're entering a season where life itself wants to lift you higher, you might think it's coincidence. But then, a moment of stillness arrives, a moment that makes you realize this might not be coincidence anymore. This might be the chapter you were meant to reach all along, a chapter your heart has been ready for from the moment the first light began to rise on the path ahead. And then, somewhere deep beneath all those quiet shifts, a strange vibration begins to rise, like a signal from far away, like a soft knock at the door of your spirit, just gentle enough to stir something inside you. That isn't random. It's the awakening of a connection you thought had fallen asleep, but in truth, it was only waiting for the right moment to return. There is someone who has loved you so deeply that their heart seems to have learned to beat in rhythm with yours. Not the kind of love that flares up and burns out, but the quiet kind. Steady, patient, loyal in ways they can't even explain. They miss you in a very particular way, not loudly, not urgently, but in the kind of silence that fills the empty corners of their chest whenever your name crosses their mind. They think of you at the strangest hours, on sleepless nights, on rare mornings when the world feels light for no reason. And even though you don't see it, they've been watching your journey from a respectful distance, far enough to give you space, but close enough to feel the shift in your energy. Between the two of you, something exists that neither of you can name, a feeling you don't understand, and they don't understand either, only that it's strong, persistent, and strangely familiar, like an invisible thread tied between you long ago, a thread that distance couldn't stretch, changes couldn't loosen, and life's detours couldn't break. It einfach simply went quiet, and then on a destined day, it trembled again, reminding both hearts that something here is not finished. Sagittarius, this connection isn't some casual encounter of this lifetime. It carries the scent of an old road, a bond that existed somewhere before the life you're living now. Some souls meet once and never again, but others find each other across lifetimes because the lesson isn't done or the love runs deeper than time itself. And between you and this person, there is something that feels very much like that. Their feelings for you are not impulsive. There is depth, there is maturity, there is fear, and sometimes there is distance because they know that one more step toward you might leave their heart without a way back. They sense you even when you're not there. They see reflections of you in small symbols of everyday life. They hear your name in the most ordinary moments. And sometimes, even a passing breeze is enough to make them think of you. And you've felt it too, haven't you? That strange pull, soft but powerful enough to stop you right where you are in the middle of your busy life. That small tightening in your chest whenever their image drifts across your mind. You thought it was coincidence, but the more you avoid it, the louder it becomes. The more you ignore it, the more it knocks. This isn't a story the mind can explain. Connections like this don't belong to logic. They belong to the soul. And the soul never lies. Maybe this person was once close and then drifted away. Maybe neither of you ever spoke your truth. Maybe there's been a long silence, big enough for both of you to pretend you've moved on. But the universe has its own way of pulling two souls back when the timing is right, when both have grown a little, softened a little, become braver, and far more honest with themselves. There will come a moment when you realize that this feeling isn't here to confuse you, but to remind you. Your heart still knows how to respond, how to open, how to love. The steps ahead will bring you closer to a story the two of you once left unfinished. A story that promises nothing and yet carries an energy that makes you want to listen, to understand, to move forward, even if just for one more heartbeat. Because sometimes love doesn't return to trouble you. It returns to remind you that you still have a place to come home to inside your own heart. And the moment you recognize that truth, the moment your heart softens without losing its strength, the moment you allow your feelings to have their own voice, another movement begins to unfold, quietly, gently, but deep enough to make your soul feel as if something is touching it, calling you closer to what's about to happen. In the days ahead, Sagittarius, you'll feel the presence of someone stepping into your life, carrying the kind of fire that doesn't burn out, not the flame that roars and disappears, but the warm, steady flame that can hold an entire winter together. This person won't arrive with noise or spectacle. They won't try to take over the room, but the moment they step near you, the air around you shifts. You'll sense the life in their eyes, the honesty in their voice, and a grounded strength that makes you pause without realizing why. They come with a clear intention, no halfway, no hidden motives, no games. This is the kind of person who says what they feel, means what they say, and doesn't leave you guessing about their place in your life. They've walked through enough of their own shadows to know that real love doesn't need performance. It doesn't need masks. It doesn't need two people pretending to be something they're not. Authenticity is their language. And because of that, they see you in a way that is startlingly pure. What's even more striking is that they've imagined a future with you long before you ever considered it. The most ordinary moments, making coffee in the morning, stepping out into the afternoon light, quiet evenings talking under soft lamps, somehow always carried an image of you. Not as fantasy, but as a quiet truth their heart kept returning to. Sagittarius, their intention is serious, the kind of serious that makes your guarded heart skip a beat you didn't give permission for. They're not here to fill a void, they're here to build. Not to control, but to grow with you. Not to paint temporary colors, but to lay a foundation for something that lasts. Behind their strength lies a tenderness meant only for those they deeply value. And you, in a way you may not fully grasp yet, are that person. They don't look at you through what you show the world. They look through the things you hide. They see the tiredness behind your smile, the way you hold yourself together so others don't worry, the quiet you fall into whenever you're hurt. And the more they see, the more they feel drawn to protect you in a way you may never have been protected before. Not to rescue you, not to replace anything, but to stand beside you. Beside, not above. And slowly, with each passing moment, you'll feel their pull more clearly. Not the overwhelming kind, but the kind that makes you feel safe. As if you found a sheltered porch, just as the first drops of rain begin to fall. They want you to understand they're not here to steal a role in your life or reshape who you are. They're here to create something solid with you, something rooted, something real. You might feel unsure at first. You might question their sincerity, their staying power, their intentions. But what surprises you won't be their promises. It will be their consistency, their patience, their clarity, their honesty. They won't force their way into your world, and they won't demand you enter theirs. They simply stand there with a look that doesn't offer too much, but offers just enough for you to know. If you open the door, they will step in. If you need time, they will wait. And through all the emotional shifts, one thing will be unmistakable: the peace they bring. Not the peace of silence, but the peace of a soul that truly wants to understand you. A peace that arrives without a mask, without pressure, without expectation. A peace born from a connection the universe saved for the moment both of you could finally see each other with your hearts instead of your fears. As their footsteps draw nearer, you will begin to understand that some meetings aren't found, they're guided. And some people, the moment they appear, carry a truth your heart instantly recognizes. They didn't arrive to break you. They arrived to remind you that real love always finds its way back home. And in that quiet moment, when your heart skips a beat, Sagittarius, something else begins to move beneath the surface, as if life itself is changing color, as if luck is turning its face toward you, as if a new door is opening, not only in love, but in the very path you're walking. A light breeze passes through, carrying a feeling both strange and familiar, a signal that what lies ahead is not only love, but the rewards you've been waiting for a very long time. The waiting, the delays, the heaviness, all begin to dissolve like morning fog, thinning under the rising sun. You know that feeling, don't you? After months of gray skies, one single ray of light is enough to make your chest tighten, and then flicker awake again. Your finances begin to move, no longer dragging the way they did in the weeks and months behind you. Opportunities you thought were closed, forgotten in some dark corner, return unexpectedly, gentle yet strong, as if they've been waiting for you to finally be ready. Maybe it's a job offer you never saw coming. Maybe a project that once fell apart is suddenly given the green light. Maybe the money you thought was gone for good finds its way back right when you need it most. Or maybe it's simply that inner relief of knowing you no longer have to race against every bill, every worry, every sleepless night fueled by fear of falling behind. Everything begins to reorder itself, cleaner, clearer, and more timely than ever before. Sagittarius, those long months of unseen effort, the ones that felt like they led nowhere, were actually laying the ground for the rise you're feeling now. You walked through a season many others would have given up on. You stayed patient. You did your part. You endured the cold silence, the slow burning hurts, the quiet sacrifices you never named out loud. And now, the universe feels ready to return the favor. Opportunity no longer arrives with noise. It arrives with maturity, with stability, like underground water finally finding the opening to break through the stone. You'll feel the shift before it fully appears. Your intuition will speak clearly, letting you know you're entering a period where doors open easily, roads clear quickly, and what once resisted you now moves in your favor without force. But the beauty of this financial change isn't just in the material gain. It's in the way your breath deepens, the way your stance steadies, the way you trust yourself again. You look at your own hands and realize your effort was not wasted. You look toward your future and see a clear line of light, no longer blurred, no longer flickering. You stand before your life as someone who's endured long enough to understand one simple truth. Any blessing that arrives now, you have earned. And within this rising momentum, a softer echo begins to call from within, as if the universe wants you to notice something else, something not tied to numbers or contracts, but to a sense of being held, a sense of being supported from more than one direction, a sense that you're being led to a place where prosperity is measured not only in dollars, but in trust, in peace, and in the people who appear at the exact moment you need a steady hand. Because sometimes real wealth isn't a fuller account, it's a lighter heart. And when the heart becomes light, something else begins to knock on your life. Natural as breath, strong as destiny, gentle as the reminder that your journey still has many beautiful things waiting to be discovered. It doesn't arrive with noise or dramatic events. It comes in the form of a new kind of silence, a silence with depth, with weight, with light. A silence that makes you realize there is a different version of you slowly waking up inside. You've changed, Sagittarius. Not in a loud way, not in a way that makes the world gasp. This change was born from ordinary days, from the moments you sat alone with yourself, from the times you released things you once held tightly because they no longer belonged to your path. It came from the nights when you sighed quietly, stood back up, and kept going. from small choices no one saw, but choices that became the bricks, leading you to where you stand now. You're no longer the person who bends under the noise of the world, the unnecessary words, the unfriendly looks, the invisible pressures. They once drained your heart, once made you doubt your worth. But over time, you learned how to stand still in the wind. You learned to hear the true voice of your heart and separate it from the echoes of everything around you. You learned what to keep, what to release, and most importantly, you learned how to protect your peace as something sacred that cannot be traded for anything. The peace you're cultivating now is not the silence of running away. It's the peace of a soul that has collided with life and understands the value of stillness. The peace of someone who knows that sometimes one slow breath is enough to bring you back to the center of yourself. And that peace sharpens you, not to defend, but to see clearly, to see people, to see situations, to see the things you used to overlook because you were too busy trying to please life itself. From that clarity, you grow into a new kind of maturity. Not the maturity that comes from being forced to be strong, but the maturity that comes from knowing that real strength is sometimes the courage to soften, to admit when you're wrong, to walk away when you must, to stand alone without feeling lost. People will look at you and see a different Sagittarius, calmer, deeper, speaking less, but with every word worth listening to, reacting less, but with each decision carrying real weight. When you enter this state of clarity, you'll be surprised to see how the world responds. The connections that no longer fit will quietly fall back. The good ones will lean in. Opportunities that match your energy will appear without needing to be chased. Everything begins to move in a natural, steady flow. No rushing, no scrambling, no fighting for space. You're simply standing in the right frequency. And the universe always answers those who learn to stand in the place meant for them. This energy makes the universe decide. It's time to give Sagittarius the reward they deserve. Not the reward of sudden luck, but the reward of the journey, of silent endurance, of every moment you kept going even when your heart was too tired to breathe, of every act of kindness you chose even while hurting, of every moment you paused to heal yourself instead of blaming the world. And as these rewards arrive, you'll feel a subtle yet powerful shift. Life becomes gentler with you. The things you once feared begin to fade. The things you once wished for begin to appear. The things you once thought were not for you now stand at your door, waiting for you to open. It all unfolds slowly, softly, almost as if the universe is careful not to startle you. But in each movement, you'll sense that what's coming is more than peace. It carries warmth. It carries light. It carries a force strong enough to pull your life into an entirely new orbit. And if you listen closely, you'll realize your heart knew this long before your mind could name it. It keeps whispering, like a small flame, hidden in the deepest corner of your soul. Warm, steady, never extinguished. And then, in these days when your energy is settling again, when your spirit is finding its calm rhythm, something else begins to form quietly behind every movement. It isn't loud, it isn't rushed, but it carries a clear feeling that it will change the way you see everything you once believed. A deep conversation is coming, Sagittarius. Maybe it's a message that appears on your screen on a night you thought you had already made peace with silence. Maybe it's a phone call carrying a voice you haven't heard in a very long time. Or maybe it's a meeting, so random it feels intentional, where your eyes meet, and everything unspoken begins to rise like water finding. It's current. This conversation isn't like the small talk of daily life. It carries the weight of what's been pressed down for too long. Confessions, truths, apologies, feelings that had no place to go. The quiet pauses that neither of you were brave enough to cross before. And when this person speaks, you'll feel the sincerity of a heart that wandered far, only to return to the place it always belonged. Their voice doesn't need to be loud. Their words don't need to be beautiful. But they'll feel like someone gently pulling back the curtain from a truth that has been hidden for far too long. The strange thing is, among the people who wish to come back into your life, only one will say the thing your heart has been waiting to hear. Not because they're clever with words, but because they speak from a genuine place inside them. And your heart, more sensitive now after months of growing up, will recognize it immediately. Some words pass through the ears, others go straight into the soul. This person will speak with a kind of energy that tells you they've been thinking, struggling, maturing, long before standing in front of you in this moment. This conversation isn't meant only to repair what was broken, not just to explain the past. It comes to open a new space, a space where both of you can stand without fear, without armor. You'll feel something like a door opening from both sides at the same time, a natural agreement. No pressure, no force, just two souls, once out of sync, finally finding the same frequency again. This is a key piece of your emotional path, not a piece to complete the whole picture, but a piece that helps you understand that real love doesn't need to be perfect to be beautiful. It only needs to be right, the right time, the right person, the right feeling. You won't need to overthink anymore. You won't fear being hurt the way you used to. You won't tense up trying to protect your heart, because in that moment, you'll realize something simple. The things meant for you don't require you to hold on so tightly. They return on their own. And when the conversation ends, usually in a gentle, quiet pause, you'll feel something shifting inside you. Soft as a breath, warm as the last light of the day. A feeling that tells you that no matter what happens next, you've just touched a truth you always deserved to hear. And from that very silence, a new movement begins, leading you toward a path where your heart no longer survives, but finally begins to bloom in the way it has been longing for all this time. When one door opens with honesty, other doors begin to open too. Quietly, gently, like a breeze, like a melody, only those who truly listen can hear. And in that meeting point between emotion and intuition, you'll notice something clearly. This journey isn't only filled with people who care about you. There are also eyes watching you in a very different way. Sagittarius, you're being observed by gazes that are not so kind. There are people who envy the presence you carry every time you walk into a room. They envy the life in you, the energy you shine without even trying. They see the bright future ahead of you, even while you're still learning to take your first steps on this new path. They don't understand how you stood back up after the wounds they thought would break you. They don't understand why beauty and blessings choose you when they believe they deserve them more. And because they don't understand, envy begins to grow. But you know this truth well. The taller the tree grows, the stronger the wind becomes. The brighter the light shines, the more the shadows try to creep in. But the universe whispers one lesson, soft yet unforgettable. Don't dim your light just to comfort the darkness. You were born to shine in a way only you can. Don't shrink yourself because someone else feels blinded. Don't silence your heart because a few eyes are clouded with bitterness. People can say whatever they want. Only you know what you had to survive to stand here today. Only you know the value of every step you've taken, every hurt you turned into wisdom, every wound you stitched quietly into new skin. You're about to receive far more than you imagine. Real love is on its way to you, unafraid, unhidden, no longer lost between hesitation and silence. A strong flow of abundance is moving toward you, carried by opportunities you'll one day look back on with pride. Your spirit will grow lighter, not because life removes its challenges, but because you've finally learned how to stand steady inside your own calm. And all of this will open a new chapter, far more beautiful than anything you expected. A chapter where you no longer fight alone, no longer gather broken pieces in the dark, no longer chase what was never meant to run. Because now, life begins to run toward you. Sagittarius, what's coming to you now is not an accident. It's the reward for your patience, the reward for the strength you built quietly, slowly, in the moments when no one knew how close you were to breaking. The universe has never forgotten you. It simply waited for the moment when the blessings would be bright enough and deep enough for you to hold them without losing yourself. And if this journey has touched something deep in your heart, if this story makes you feel seen, understood, accompanied, then I invite you to stay with this channel so we can walk together through the days filled with light and the days wrapped in mist. Subscribe so when the universe has something to tell you, you won't miss the message. Thank you for listening with your whole heart. May you move forward with peace, clarity, and the quiet strength that has always been yours.